We can, it won't bother me any.
Setting the mood.
Yeah. 4 hours, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday each, and Thursday and Friday's off. Wow. And then I have like a 5-day weekend coming up starting tomorrow.
Dennis, is that your new truck out there?
Oh,
I wonder who got the new white Tundra.
Brett.
The one sitting out back is Brett.
Oh, it's
Hopefully the
nice.
weather will actually
Good looking.
cooperate. You can get out and enjoy something. I don't know when spring's gonna actually start. I don't think it's yet.
Amy, I don't want to rain on your parade, but I checked the forecast. Friday's supposed to be pretty decent. Then like 6 or 7 days of thunderstorms and rain.
Oh my God. You did rain on my parade. It's terrible.
Typical for this kind of holidays. Labor Day in the morning.
Yeah.
There, okay.
How many we got signed in?
All 5 of them are on.
Nice.
And then Al and Wade are also on.
Perfect.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Rob.
Good evening.
Hi, Rob.
There. Now I have everybody on screen. That's nice.
Did I just hear Bill come in?
Yep, I'm here.
Hi, Bill.
Good evening. Everybody's on.
Very cool. Whew.
Okay, Kim, when you're ready.
I'm ready if you are.
Welcome, everybody. Hiawatha Regular Council Meeting, Wednesday, May 20th, 2020. Roll call.
Dick Olson.
Here.
Jerry Bomeeple.
Here.
Rob Archibald.
Here.
Amy Wickendall.
Here.
Steve Dotson.
Here.
Perfect. Roll call. Or, no, I'm sorry.
Approval of the
Approval
agenda.
of the agenda. That's what I want.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
We got 2. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're good.
One quick question of order I thought I saw with Tim's email with relation to the presentation for something at the library. Did we need to move an item from the consent agenda to the regular agenda to do that?
That was actually in reference to the public safety facility.
Okay.
And I didn't know, I
Okay.
just wanted to make sure, you know, typically I like to put those down in business. And I didn't really pay any attention to it till today. So sorry about that. So I just want to make sure you knew that you had the option to pull those down if you wanted to talk in more detail.
Okay. I didn't know if we needed to do it for any kind of presentation. If not, I'm
Nope.
just fine leaving it where it is.
Nope, we're good.
Okay.
Everybody's good?
Good.
All righty. Let's move right on to reports. Our citizens input, which we're closed, so we can pass on that.
Do we have any
Anything in the mail?
citizens online?
Yeah.
Okay. And no one's online, Bill?
No one's online.
No.
Okay, then we'll move right on to reports. And anybody from council got anything?
Nothing for me.
I attended the planning and zoning meeting, and once again, Pat handled the questions very well. Much talk about the hunters, help me out there, over by Kelson's.
Yep.
100 cameras.
Talking about the parceling of 2 lots, and the question was, why are we voting on it now when we haven't discussed it? And evidently it was discussed back in November. So anyway, it was interesting for me just getting acquainted with it.
Yep, and if anybody's drove by up there, there's a lot going on up
Yes,
there.
there is.
That's a big building.
It looks huge.
Is that Hunter Parks doing that, Bill?
Well, it's Tim Wilson, and I don't know if
Yeah.
Hunter's in too, but
Oh, Tim's doing that?
yep.
Yeah.
Yep, be a nice looking building.
I attended the water board meeting last night.
Okay.
So, nothing on their agenda, no business was done, just the superintendent's report. So, they're just kind of hanging in there right now, so.
Still moving forward with the storage tank?
Yeah,
Everything's-
I did ask them about that, and everything's still going as planned.
Oh,
So,
good.
Hopefully, they'll be, doing some site work in the next week or 2.
Perfect. Okay.
So, we had library board last week, and the biggest discussion centered around the change orders, which we just addressed in the consent agenda. But it was discussed that the number of change orders were upwards of 30 now. The city staff has done a good job of combing through those to make sure that we're paying the right ones and not paying stuff that we shouldn't be paying. So I appreciate city staff, but it is kind of surprising to me that we have so many of those change orders. So something to keep an eye on.
Right. A lot of them were due to the water in the situation, and Kim and John did a good job on some of the stuff that they looked at. You know, there was hours versus money, and it was well explained to me, and it turned out good. So.
Yeah, Kim did a great job of explaining them to the library board. It's just surprising how many there was.
Perfect.
Yeah, hopefully we won't see too many more once they're starting to paint, and which is a positive sign. All of the data and all of that type of stuff is being pulled through, so we're kind of getting out of the new portion. The remodeling, in my opinion, because it is a pretty simple building, the remodeling part should be fine. We actually, Pat, John, and I spoke with Wade on Tuesday. Wade is from Fusion, our architect who is running the show here. And we spoke about that on Tuesday and said, okay, what others could there be? You know, what things could we run into? And because the only thing I could come up with was maybe ductwork, because of the change that we had to make from a wood truss to a metal truss and how that changed the new portion. And so that's the other reason why you saw a handful of change orders there. But that was the only thing I could think of, and that was the only thing the guys could think of too. And in response to that, Wade said, you know, we should be fine with that, because the new portion isn't gonna affect the old portion. So we're gonna keep our fingers crossed on that and say our prayers.
And it sounds.
Do you think the technology change orders increases are over now that we've covered that 17,700 change order one for the various IT stuff?
Yeah, actually, I think
We'd have more surprises on that.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. That was one of the things we talked about too. And honestly, with that, what we had projected for a bid earlier on, and Rob, you may remember this too, is I was so surprised when we had the original RFP for the AV, when we got those bids in, it was half the cost. I mean, it was half of what we projected. And so we thought, well, you know, we think everything's in here. We didn't really realize until we get a little deeper into the project that pulling those wires were not in either the spec or the RFP. And so that number really brings it to where we thought we were going to be as an estimate.
was kind of surprised to see that 17,700 on that one that you referred to, Dick, that it was almost split equally between materials and labor.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. And if you noticed in one of the change orders that we declined, that we actually through Garland had a bid of 48,000. So 48,000 versus 17.
Yeah.
So I think certainly the 17 is more in the realm.
You know, I appreciate, you know, not being able to go to the meetings now, getting at least the minutes and the spreadsheet for the progress of the job. And it looks like it's not good moving much more into September than it was a couple of months ago. And so I
Yeah.
think holding the line there is beneficial with all these change orders coming.
Yes, they also spoke about, we were wondering whether COVID-19 would push that out a little bit farther. What they shared with us on Tuesday is that for our project, they are not seeing any other vendors letting them know that they're going to be behind or not able to provide something. So that is a positive for that timeline.
And another positive I saw, not referring to the library, but also in the consent agenda, was the 28E agreement. So,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Harris, yes. that's
Yep.
a good thing.
Yes, yes, for the NEPA. So one more thing crossed off my list.
Keep picking away at that,
Yes,
'cause-
I'm absolutely thrilled with that. I have two things before we go on to business.
Yep.
One is Carrie. I had Carrie help spend a lot of time with putting together reopening your business in the age of COVID-19 toolkit. Luckily, we didn't have to create it all on our own. We did a lot of copy and pasting, but it has a lot of really good information for our businesses, and not just our business. It can be for any business, honestly, whether it's here in Hiawatha or in the metro community. But just giving them some guidelines of how to open, very, very similar to what I provided to you guys today, just on the city's behalf. So Carrie did get this done today, and we put a little letter together with Bill and I, signatures on it. And so we'll get this posted and shared with HEDCO along with our city website as well. So we're just really trying to find things that we can provide easy access and easy to understand information as those businesses start reopening. And then
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, and then lastly, I was going to let you know that we did Wade Germain from Snyder and Associates. We have officially, as of Saturday morning, we finished up on the grant application for Build, and I have to tell you guys, it looks like an awesome grant. In fact, when you look at the cost benefit analysis, for every dollar spent, they gain, and he broke it out in segments, $20 to $7. So the return is pretty positive.
That's awesome.
Sorry, I missed the introduction. What is this for?
For the Build grant, for the Tower Terrace Build grant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very excited that is out. And the other additional exciting part of that is we had about 25 letters of support, and that did include Governor Reynolds, all of our local, both Senators Mathis and Zumba, and Representative Henson, and then each of our communities had a couple, at least two, no less than two from our business community, including Rockwell. So we're pretty excited. I had asked Wade, do we have enough letters, or do I need to go drum up some more? And he said, actually, no, you have double the letters I normally get. So our next step then is to start making phone calls to all of those individuals, asking them to call Washington, D.C. to keep moving this along.
Good. Just a quick comment. I just received an email from the church, and I don't know if anybody's recently received one, but Archbishop Jackals has announced that masses will resume the weekend of the 30th and 31st, which kind of surprised me.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I don't know if anybody else made it out this weekend to some of the businesses that reopened, but from what I see, good distancing and a lot of thought went into it before they reopened. And one of the places that I inspected was the little barber shop that's down the street, and then also Lucky Penny, and it's they're both doing a really good job. So we're lucky there.
Hey, Kim, do we have an idea of how many businesses were actually impacted by, other than restaurants, do we have a good count of the number of businesses in town that were shut down or impacted because of COVID-19?
I don't have a number for you, but honestly, the ones that were impacted here in Hiawatha are certainly the retail and restaurants.
Yeah.
Many others. I would say 80% of our businesses, I think that's a good number, 80% of our businesses stayed open.
Right.
I was curious because of the high number of essential businesses that we do have in town and the kind of the low number of retail and restaurant. I was just curious. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, anything else? Good discussion. Okay, we'll move right on to business. Number 1, public hearing to consider a proposal amendment number 15 to the Hiawatha Urban Renewal Plan in the city of Hiawatha, state of Iowa. And we'll open up that hearing. Did we receive anything
No,
via the mail?
no, we did not.
Okay, since I hear nothing in discussion, we will close the hearing at 5:46 and move on. A, consider resolution determining an area of the city to be in economic development area and that would be rehabilitation and conservation and redevelopment, development and or combination, therefore, of such area is necessary in the interests of the public health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the city, designing such an area as appreciation for urban renewal projects, and adopting the amendment number 15 to the Hiawatha Urban Renewal Plan. And I think this is a great discussion. It's a great idea on my part. Roll call.
Amy Wickendall.
Aye.
Dick Olson.
Aye.
Steve Dotson.
Aye.
Jerry Mowinkle.
Aye.
Rob Archibald.
Aye.
Okay. Number 2, discussion, possible action, COVID-19 and reopening city facilities. And Kim, you want to?
Yep. Yeah, so guys, I've sent everyone this draft reopening plan phases. You will see that I have phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 3, I did not actually get to that point to break that down, but I do think that moving forward with phase 1 and having that experience, seeing how those things go, and then moving into phase 2, honestly, will really tell us what we can do in phase 3. Phase 3 is really going to be that, what I'm calling that new normal, those things that we will do permanently for a long time at least. I really feel like some of these changes that we've made over these last 9 weeks, that some of these will be permanent. And what that is going to be, I'm not able to tell you that at the moment, but we will see that as we work our way through the reopening phases. Primarily, I have every department in here. I did send this off to the department heads. I will ask them to review this as well. I did note and spoke with Pat today. The one thing I didn't get in here that I did want to, and that was how are we going to reopen for inspections and what that's going to look like. In talking with Pat today, some of the feedback he's getting from his peer groups are no one's in any real hurry to get back into the residential portion of the inspections quite yet. Certainly, I think when we get to phase 2, that I think will open up a little bit, and certainly will open up a little bit more in phase 3. But I do believe that it'll look different in how we do it today. And so we'll work through that, and we'll keep each of you up to speed with that. But primarily what I wanted to talk and give you guys an opportunity to talk about is how do we want to move forward with council, board, and commission meetings. I really would like to have your guys' thoughts on that, and we don't necessarily need to have that tonight. We can certainly be more definitive about what that's going to look like in our first meeting in June, but certainly wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about what you guys are thinking. I did take some time today to space out the chairs, and we can get some pretty decent distance but I only have 5 chairs at the dais, so we could potentially look at doing something and putting the mayor up in front of the dais and all the city staff off to the side with the other staff table and extending that. So we do have some options. We could split where we could have 3 people come in and 2 people on virtual. However, whatever you guys are comfortable with is what I would like to do. And then when would you like to come back in full swing, whether you want to do that in the phase 2 process, or, certainly in the phase 1 process or phase 2 process. So open up for discussion.
So Kim, the question that I have on this, are any of the phases kind of based on, what kind of cases of COVID-19 we're seeing both locally and in Lynn County, or is it just kind of acting in response to the general openings of what's going on within the community?
That's a really good question, Amy. I did put some criteria in here, and it's on page 4 and 5 that just kind of breaks that down, and is something for us to use as a guide, and then we can, if we expand out of that, or we feel more comfortable based on what is going on here just in the Lynn County area and not just over the state of Iowa, we can certainly have more conversation in regards to that.
Kim, I have a quick question. On page 5 where you give the list of current and then phase 1 plans June 15th. So is that phase 1, is that current date from now?
Yes.
15th?
Yeah, so
phase 2 will be June 15th through July 13th.
Oh, sorry. No, so phase 1 would start June 15th, at least for reopening. So staff will actually be coming back 2 weeks prior to the June 15th date. That's where I had the June 1 date, is having all of those individuals who are working from home start integrating them back into the daily routine. And then I'm just projecting July 13th as the start date for phase 2. And that could change based on what's going on. Yep. But it's just a date so I have my eye at least on a target date so we can get geared up, because right now we're gearing up, we're purchasing what we have purchased, the sneeze guards and the social distancing circles and those types of things for those hand sanitized stations, those things that are coming in. We're moving staff around so that we can maintain a 6-foot plus distance. So the gals on the main floor up front, we are shifting some of those and putting people into empty offices, because the thing I'm trying to prevent is people having to wear a mask the whole 8.5 hours that they're here. And so by moving individuals around and allowing them some space to not have to wear a mask is really the goal. And doing the same here on the upper floor as well, at the admin floor.
Well, in discussion, I want to thank the staff and stuff because, we've done a great job. Look at we haven't had any instances so far. And, the answers that we make on this stuff, it's not, nobody has the perfect answer. And so we just, make the best decisions. And from what I see, we're kind of running in line with what Governor Reynolds is making for decisions. And like I say, we don't know what's going to come and what we're going to do for the rest of the season as far as that goes with it's kind of a day by day. So thank you
By the
again.
way, for our phases, I think, Kim, and maybe this is what you had planned, follow along with what Lane County has put out for their guidance on the different phases.
Yes, it's very similar. In fact, both not only I'm in the Metro group that's talking about what are we doing, how are we phasing. Kelly Willardson, Park and Rec Director, she is also in a Metro group. So it's very helpful to be able to have some input from others and see what they're doing and what the guidelines are. And I actually, much of what I have here as far as phasings is very similar to what Lynn County Public Health has put out as far as the criteria and what those phases what happens in those phases generally. You'll see that this is very, very similar.
Yeah, I see that now about how it talks about the criteria. I missed that on my first scroll through.
Yeah, no problem.
My opinion on the getting back, I think we should try to get back in face-to-face meetings in June. I mean, maybe if we split as a group, but I think it's very beneficial to have face-to-face meetings. It's tough.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I'll kind of concur on that one. Like, I think a staggered approach is probably better, just so we're not kind of all spread out all over the council chambers. But I think we could probably go ahead and do some of that. One other question on some of the phases, because I guess my concern with all the reopenings is that sometimes it creates a kind of false sense of security that everything's behind us. And
Yeah.
would we have the flexibility if we have like localized outbreaks or hotspots to kind of come back and kind of, close things up if we need to, if that's the situation warrants it? And then kind of we make that determination if it does?
Yes, absolutely, Amy. In fact, those are the things that I've spent time talking to all of our team members about as well. That this is the changes that we're making when we're speaking here at City Hall. The changes we're making, we really need to look at those as though this is permanent. That this is, or at least we're gonna be doing this for at least a year.
Yeah.
So, so that really is the mindset that we have here. And if there is some if the data says that we've got something going on, in fact, if in the fall, from my understanding, it's going to circle back through again. And if that's what it does, we'll retrieve. And that's that's what we'll work with. And I'm sure that we'll have that guidance, I believe, from the governor and from Lynn County Public Health and CDC. So I think that they'll provide those measures for us.
Yeah, Kim, just a question. Are you collaborating with Lon and Jeff?
Correct, yes.
In terms of how they're going to be doing this with their councils in Marion and Cedar Rapids?
Yeah, so from our last conversation, that is the conversation we're having today is what they're also doing with their council and board members.
That's good. We should have a coordinated metro-wide plan for councils getting back together.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yep. Today is really more about just feeling you guys out and understanding where your level of comfort is.
Perfect.
I think for our council meetings in the recent past, it has not been a situation where we couldn't social distance. We don't have enough attendance and we have big enough space that I think that we could do it and be safe about it.
Yeah, I agree.
I
on
agree.
that too. And I guess one kind of concern, it's kind of a side concern, just by virtue of doing a lot of these virtual meetings, just the sheer amount of stuff we are kind of putting in the consent agenda. Like, I know a lot of these things are, are pretty straightforward and would be approved anyway, but I'm always a little bit leery on having the council run on autopilot, so I would kind of like to see that kind of get back to like the regular agenda as we were doing it. So.
Okay.
Yeah, not a problem.
Yep. Jerry, haven't heard a lot from you. What are your thoughts?
Excuse me?
What are your thoughts?
Well, I, as long as there's a consensus in the metro community, but, I wouldn't want to be a renegade there. But I think the way I'm looking at it, from the rapid Productions business looking at it, we're still looking at it day to day.
Mm-hmm.
And, our business planning is by the month and then by the quarter, we're not looking too far down the road. So I guess what I'm saying is, it's kind of like a wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
The curve continues to flatten.
Yep.
That's kind of a signal to move forward. But Amy, I think you said it, that with the gradual opening, I've seen some people pretty casual. They think the pandemic's over, and it's not.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Steve, how about you?
Well, I believe, I kind of agree with Rob. In June, I see no reason why we can't, have our council meetings at least, face to face. I think we get more done and get better discussion on topics concerning the city. So that's my thought on that. And like everybody said, we have plenty of room in council chambers. Whether we open it up to the public or not, we can decide that later. But initially, I think we should, in June, start meeting there.
Okay.
That's my thoughts.
All right.
I think there's a transparency issue involved too. So I agree with the comments that are being made in terms of us meeting and going through a complete agenda as opposed to a truncated agenda that I don't think anybody's going to think that there's a hidden agenda there. But if we have it all out in the open like we've done for years,
Mm-hmm.
the sooner we can do that, the better.
Okay. Thank you for your input. I appreciate that.
You referenced like June 15th, because I'm looking at the meetings in June of the 3rd and the 17th. Do we want to do it the first on the 3rd, or make it kind of phase, kind of maybe do this type of forum again on the 3rd, and then kind of look at the 17th with opening or kind of coming back into the chambers?
I would agree with that, Amy. Definitely.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, perfect. All good discussion, and I think we got closer to an idea of what we can look for next. And
So, hold on, can we back up?
Yep.
I would like to see us June 3rd have at least some of us there, if not all of us. I mean,
Yeah,
kind of
maybe.
phase it in. I guess if people wanted to split, we could do that for the 2 meetings.
Yeah.
But I would like to see us have some face-to-face at the beginning of June.
Yeah, so maybe we can make it optional that those want to attend in person could, and those that want to do Zoom could do that.
there you go. Absolutely.
That works for me, whatever.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right. Well, I will check with each of you prior to June 3rd as to who plans to attend in
Attend.
person and who will be attending virtually. That way, if it ends up everybody is here, then we'll make sure we make accommodations to maintain that social distancing requirement.
I'll just probably say I'll probably still do virtually on the 3rd, just because I know I have to go do a doctor's appointment, so I will just kind of stay here. I think that's probably for the better on that day.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, well, Any items that anybody wants to place on the agenda for next meeting? If not,
I do have one more comment that I should have mentioned earlier, but
Yep.
the stoplight at, in front of the library looks awesome.
Yes, that,
That were just installed this week, and the concrete
Yeah.
work looks excellent, so that is a good addition to that area.
no.
Definitely, Rob, I agree.
Yeah, it really looks good, and I'll tell you what, I've had some comments from the Wilman Street people and stuff, and they're really going to like that.
good,
So,
good to hear.
All right, well, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 And we are officially adjourned at 6:05. Thank you, everybody, and have a good evening.
Have a good Wednesday night, everybody.
Good night.
Have a good one. Take care.
Okay. See,